Hey, I've got a really nice slideshow presentation up here. Unfortunately, it doesn't connect up. Apple products don't work well with some of this cheap stuff. So. All right, I just want to give a quick rundown of where we're at right now, but I also want to talk a little bit about the past, and then we'll talk about the future a little bit too. Present status. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. Okay, everyone probably knows about the American Legion, what we are all about. Our mission is very simple, it's to promote Americanism. But what is Americanism? It probably means something slightly different depending upon who you talk to about it. For us, it's promoting patriotism. We're into it for the long haul. A lot of the folks that have been in the American Legion for a while, they understand what sacrifice is, and they understand that it all boils down to supporting the United States and its endeavors. We also promote respect for and proper display. Go.
This always seems like there's a question in people's mind, and even mine, the difference between like VFW and American Legion. It seems like it kind of blended, you know, whether you have to be a veteran
That wasn't me.
Can you, I mean, it's just people, not necessarily, no military affiliation or anything? Or?
American Legion, there are certain time periods during which if you've served on active duty, you can become a member. With VFW or Veterans of Foreign Wars, you actually have to have combat service in a combat environment. And we'd have to talk to somebody from the VFW or someone who's been in the VFW that knows about the particulars on that. For us in American Legion, we have particular dates that are flagged for that allow us to have members in. And there's a bunch of them. It basically revolves around World War I, World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam conflict, and then post-Vietnam there was the Grenada conflict, and then we started getting into the War on Terror, 1990, Saddam's
invasion. Did you get that speaker working or not? We can't hear back here.
Can you hear me now? No?
No. I turned it off.
I can move towards you.
It's back on. Now let's try.
Now, one of the big things we do is promoting of the display of the flag, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. And also promoting citizenship.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what you're doing. Okay,
we'll talk about where we've been, our present status, and then our future goals. Okay, post 92. That's Meyer Shield. That is the post that most of us in the Alva area belong to. There is another post called 213, and that's one that encompasses the entire state of Oklahoma. So there may be guys in the American Legion that are in post 213. There's a few of them that are running around here that aren't in post 92. We're going to be actively trying to get them to become active members of post 290 or 92 and get out of 213. Way back when, the American Legion used to be down on the square. And does anybody remember where that building was? Some folks might have seen some old pictures.
Well, the doctor's building is
right,
now.
Where the professional building is now. That's where the American Legion used to be. I think that was probably before the airplane factory in World War II, before then. At some point they sold the building. It was probably had something to do with being able to pay the bills and whatnot. And they put the money into the bank, and it's pretty much kind of sat there and hasn't really done anything since. Presently, our post has no building of our own to go to, and that's one of the challenges that we'll talk about. Okay, our present status. In December of 2014, just last December, Milford White contacted the department headquarters down in Oklahoma City. He was interested in trying to get this post revitalized. It kind of wandered off. Membership wasn't so much lagging, as it just weren't meeting, and they weren't really accomplishing much. the present commander was kind of overwhelmed with everything that he was doing. That was Roscoe, and he was still getting kids to go to Boise State and Girls State, but that was about the extent of it. So without combined group effort, it's pretty tough to get anything done. During that December meeting, we nominated some officers. Ray Bender was nominated as commander. Max Benningfield was nominated as the vice commander. I was nominated as the adjutant. And we also had Milford White, who was nominated as our chaplain. And those are the 4 officers in January that were sworn into office, and we've sat those posts ever since. And we've been meeting every month. During that time, we set some goals. One was to meet monthly, so we meet every month. It's the first Thursday of every month. And we set out to look for a temporary location, and that location is the fireside room of the museum, the Alva Museum. It's a good location. It's the price is definitely right. There's no cost to it. So the museum has been gracious enough to allow us to use that facility, and we greatly appreciate it. We also started some fundraising activities, and we started thinking about doing some of the Memorial Day things that we would usually support, or that we should support, and also some flag, respect to the flag type activities. We started working on those. Fundraising. It's a big deal. You can't get anything done if you don't have money, and it's just one of those things that you just can't get around. So any organization that wants to help others is going to have to develop fundraising activities. We've had 2 hot dog days at Atwood's fundraisers, and they were very good. They were very successful. It seemed like it rained both times, or threatened to rain on the first one, threatened to rain on the second one. So if we can schedule those right, the farmers should be very willing to help support us with funding. That's a joke. We also put flags around the square. We started redoing that. How we got the flags, I think there's people in here probably or elsewhere that know the story on the flags. If you've seen the flags around the square, when we had the old concrete, they drilled holes and they put the flags in there to be able to put those up for Memorial Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July, that sort of thing. We wanted to redo that. We had gotten, Todd Holder had told us that he was in possession of the flags, and he would gladly help us repatriate those flags to us. All we had to do was figure out a location for them. So we did. We got a location that we can store them in now. That'll keep them dry. But some of them were in disrepair, so we had to go through them all. We've got, I think, 47 flags now that are in excellent or good condition that we can display around the square. When they put the new concrete in some spots they replaced the holes. They put 1.5 inch inside diameter PVC in there to help to be able to let the flag stay there long term. But in other locations they didn't do that. Maybe the holes weren't there, or they just didn't have the wherewithal to be able to put them in certain locations. But if you look on the south side of the square where Graceful Arts is and the mall and those locations there's not many holes there. Holders, I think, has got 2 like right next to each other. That's a problem. We don't want to just start drilling holes in the new concrete, so we're working with the city to figure out a way forward on that. So hopefully we'll be able to get some holes put in properly and won't get in trouble for putting any holes in. Just one last thing with the flags. The flags are not overly expensive. We get a special deal through the American Legion. However, we still, part of our fundraising activities will go towards replacing those flags. So as we go around soliciting for donations from different businesses, that's what that money is partially earmarked for, is to be able to replace the flags, make sure they're in proper condition. If you do see a flag after it's been out there and it's starting to get torn or ripped and everything, just let us know and we'll get it replaced. But what we're going to try to do is put the flags up quickly for those different holiday events and then take them down quickly. The longer they're out in the weather, the more quickly they'll get torn up. They're very good flags. They're nylon. They should last a very long time. Max Benningfield flies a flag all the time, and he gets the same similar flag. They last about a year if they're out in the weather continuously. So if you figure if we just put them out for 3 or 4 days per event, they're out maybe 10 days out of a year. We should be able to get pretty good life out of the flags. We also support Boise State. This past year we put 5 boys, 5 juniors into Boise State. That's unusual. This was an unusual year. We got information from the department that said, send as many as you can. And so we went to the high school. Rod Duncan spearheaded that effort to find out how many boys were interested in going. We got 5 that applied. Actually, later on we got another. We elected to send the 5 primaries, and that was a good deal. They all came back and were very happy that they went to that and did that experience. And that's something that goes back to our main focus point of promoting citizenship. The more kids that we can send to Boise State and Girls State, the better. We also helped the American Legion Auxiliary. They take care of Girls State juniors that want to participate in Girls State. They were only able to send 2 this year, so it kind of seemed kind of unfair, especially from the kids' perspective. But as I explained, and I tried to explain to all of them, unusual circumstances. Probably they were seeing participation lagging for the boys' side, and so they were opening up more to get more participation. But there is an affordability issue as well, and so we were able, with our fundraising efforts, to be able to support that. So that's something that we'll continue to do. We also sent money to support Cardinals baseball. Cardinals baseball, they play out on the VFW field, and we wanted to be able to support them. We think that field's a real good place for kids to be playing, and we would like to continue to support that as well. Okay, a little bit about the future. There is a lot of things that we would like to do. There's a lot of things that require money, and so we have to be able to have our fundraising efforts aligned with those goals. But one of the goals that we really want to press forward on is a permanent post location. I don't think I have to explain it too deeply, but once an American Legion post gives up its building, it's pretty much the death knell for it. Without that focus point for that building, and the building usually, if it's run properly, provides for some types of fundraising activities that you can't get any other way, like bingo or possibly restaurant or alcohol sales. Those types of efforts with that building, once that building goes away, the Legion usually follows it. It's surprising in our particular case that we got rid of the building so early in Alva's American Legion, yet the Legion has persisted. And there was times when it's on life support, yes, but we're hoping to revitalize and then get a building that we can call our own, but that we can also point to for the community so that they can see that as a symbol of what we're trying to promote, Americanism. We're also going to increase the scope of our fundraising. You can do more than just hot dog sales or donations and flags. There's a lot of things that you can do, and we'll be looking at those in the near future to see if we can start on that. One of the things we can try to do is expand our donating capability with our we're like a 501c. I think we're actually a 501k, and we can use that for folks that want to donate large sums of money in order to get our organization back up and running. They can know that they're donating to a worthy cause that is it's got the tax-exempt requirements met. We also want to increase our membership, like I mentioned before. There's a lot of members that may be on that post 213, just kind of paying their dues but not really actively participating. We want to bring them back into the fold so that they can focus their efforts right here now. Honor Guard is something that we've discussed. Honor Guard comes with a lot of time and effort attached to it, and there's also some requirements for maintaining weapons and an armory of sorts. Those are things that with a permanent location we could look at that, but probably not something the museum probably doesn't want us storing any M1s up there. Or maybe they do, I don't know. And then there's also, we've talked about this but just on the peripheral, there's a thing called the Sons of the American Legion. It's an actual organization that runs similarly to the American Legion Auxiliary. And what that allows is that family members of a Legion member could participate in Legion activities as in the chapter, the SAL. Now, I haven't gotten any word back yet from Ray on, he was going to go and ask some questions on, but one of the things I'd want to know is, can you run those meetings concurrently? So if we did set up a SAL, we would just have those members of that join basically and run our meetings concurrently, so that we wouldn't have to duplicate any effort. Have one location, have all of the group meet at the same time, focus our efforts. I'll get back to you on that as soon as I find out what the answer to that is. Okay, that's the quick of it. How long did I take to do that? Questions? I'm sure there's some questions. We'll go on.
I've got 2 questions. Have you got a geographical area for post 92, and what is your present membership now?
I can answer the second question. The first question, I don't think you can. I don't think the lines are drawn that sharply. I think that if you were, say, lived in Cherokee, but you wanted to go to the attend and be a member of the Alva chapter, you could do that. So I don't think there's any restrictions based on that.
Is there a Cherokee chapter?
I believe there is, or at least there was. I know there's a Freedom chapter, and they're not that far away. So yeah, and if somebody lived in Freedom and wanted to be a part of our chapter instead, we could do that. But you can only be in one chapter at a time. What's that?
It's kind of a trade area type thing.
Right, yeah. If we take someone else's members, that's I mean, that would be great for us, but it might not really be supportive of them.
How many members do you have?
We've got approximately 45 members, I believe. I think that's the last count. I think that's how many will fit on. I think our sign-in log is actually just now 2 pages. So a lot of them are inactive, but they're still paying their dues. But a lot of them are showing up for meetings all the time. So, Arden, you had a question?
Yes, I'm kind of promoting this Camp Alva committee. Richard Ryerson and I were working on that. Some of you in this room volunteered to help Camp Alva restore the old VFW, and I think that would be a good fit for a permanent home for the American Legion. The VFW has fallen on hard times. It's actually aged out. The VFW auxiliary is dissolved. And I think that with the memorandum of understanding that has been proposed, that will bring the entities of the airport board, the county commissioners, the VFW, and the American Legion, maybe we can restore that building to the way it was during World War II.
Yeah, that's certainly something we've looked at. We've talked about it in our meetings, and I mean, that's definitely on the table. That'd be an excellent location. We would like to be back on, I mean, some of us would like to be back on the square because we feel like that's where the focus is, but we would not walk away from a deal to go back out to Camp Alva. Any other questions? Our present membership, we see that there is some fairly old folks, so we've still got a few World War II members, but they're aging out pretty quick. We got some Korea vets, we've got Vietnam participation, and we're starting to see more of the guys like me that are much younger that want to actively participate and carry it forward. So we're hopeful that it's going to be a very promising thing.
You said Freedom and Cherokee, I suppose. How many are there in those? You know?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I could probably, yeah, I would be able to. No, not off the top of my head. No.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry.